Hi guys, welcome back. Just real quick, I want to let y'all know that Doug's surgery went really well this week. One of the first things that I recommend everybody do when they start this process is consult with an employment attorney, maybe even a few, really early on. Most of them offer free consults, and I got a few of those. And I also paid for a 1-hour consultation with a local employment attorney who had fought NASA before and won. That was before I even filed my claim with EEOC, which I highly recommend, especially to workers in the private sector, where having an attorney can make a huge difference in the amount that you're able to recover. When I got to the point of actually hiring an attorney, between my investigation and my hearing, I called and was rejected by a lot of employment attorneys because they didn't think my case was really worth anything. My attorney was willing to help me anyway because I had the proof I needed, and she thought what NASA did was pretty disgusting, which it was. When you finally find that attorney who believes you and thinks you have a shot at winning, it's a huge relief. So a lot of us think that once we hire an attorney like that, our problems are over. But unfortunately, I hear from quite a few of you who tell me that you're not satisfied with the level of communication you're getting from your attorney. It's a common problem, and it's one that I had too. We send them a lot of money and then sometimes don't hear from them for months on end. And sometimes when we call them, they don't call us back. When that sort of thing goes on for a while, we can feel like we're still fighting alone. And most of us hire attorneys so we don't have to feel that way. It can be an incredibly frustrating situation. The good news I want to share today is that a lot of the communication problems we have with our attorneys, we can easily work around. We just might have to change some of the things we think and do. When I was a technical manager at NASA, one of the things I found was that if I wanted my team members to communicate with me openly and honestly, I had to make that as easy as possible for them. Unfortunately, we can't nag, complain, or even beg our way into good communication. Those things only get in the way. We have to be as pleasant and professional as possible, and we have to show the other person that we respect their skills and appreciate all their hard work. That goes a long way with anybody. But there are some things I did at NASA that I had to rethink for my EEOC case. For instance, NASA was a super fast-paced work environment. We had to do a lot of things that were nearly impossible yesterday. To pull that off, we had to be pretty much in constant contact with the rest of our team, anticipating problems and planning ahead. Hardly a week went by that I didn't communicate with everybody who was on my teams. I expected my attorney to work the same way, and when she didn't, it really concerned me. At first. My attorney charged about $500 an hour billed in 15-minute increments, so every conversation I had with her cost at least $125, even if it only lasted 5 minutes. Compared to NASA, my EEOC claim moved at a snail's pace. My case was stagnant for months on end sometimes, so tagging up with my attorney every week or even every month just to find out that my case was still stalled didn't make any sense. Especially at $125 a pop. After I realized that, I got a lot more comfortable with the way my attorney did things. She contacted me whenever there was activity or progress on my case, like when NASA made a settlement offer or there was a pre-hearing conference coming up or something like that. And for the major milestones, my attorney and I usually both got notified by either EEOC or NASA's attorney. When I got those notifications, I always drafted a list of the points that I wanted to make at that milestone, or a list of concerns I had about what might happen, and I shared that with my attorney in email, along with a friendly reminder of the deadline that was coming up. Most of our communications were around things like that were concrete and necessary. A lot of us worry because our attorney doesn't return our phone calls in a timely manner, or maybe ever. That can be a real problem. One thing I can recommend for that is try changing how you contact him. My attorney was very slow responding to phone calls. She returned my calls eventually, but sometimes it took her a few days. Emails or text messages, on the other hand, would usually get an immediate response from her, even if it was only, "Let's talk on Friday." Emails and text messages are two of the most time-efficient ways that we can communicate. I can text you now when I have time, and you can text me back later when you have time. We don't both have to be active in the conversation at the same time. Another concern that a lot of us have with our attorney is that we're not getting emotional support from them. TV and movies tell us we're supposed to, but that's not real. I didn't hire my attorney to be my friend. I hired her to be a bulldog in court. When I needed emotional support, I got that from my therapist, who was way better at it and also less expensive. Another issue that a lot of people have is that they don't feel comfortable talking with their attorney. That's something you need to check out on the front end. For instance, I knew that I was going to have to be able to talk to whoever my attorney was in detail about my IBSD. It was a sensitive subject, and I usually knew within a few minutes whether or not I was going to be able to do that. It's also important to figure out if their style and strategy matches your goals. I hired my attorney to be a bulldog in court because I knew NASA wasn't interested in settling by the time I hired her. I knew that if I was going to win, it was probably going to be in court. So that played heavily into my decision about who I hired. Like the rest of us, attorneys all have their own style. Some attorneys take on a lot of cases and try to settle them quickly. If your attorney is like that, you may not get as much for your case as if you went all the way to court. But on the other hand, you're not going to have to hang in there for 6 years like I did. Some take fewer cases that they know are worth a lot. Those weren't interested in cases like mine because my damages were capped. Others want well-documented cases that are supported by witness statements because they like to win. There are all kinds of styles and strategies. So again, make sure the attorney you choose matches your goals. My bulldog was perfect for my situation. I hope some of these tips will ease your concerns and help you find your way to better communication with your attorney. I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, take care and hang in. Fight smart, hang in to win. And thank you guys for all your well wishes this week.